everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey. Another solo episode, but just a heads up, during the month of March, we are hopefully getting everyone back together to do a deep dive into Redbreast.
Redbreast in a cage, 406.9.
If you are not familiar with Redbreast, it is an Irish whiskey, and they have several different expressions, different ages, different blends, different casks that they use, several different expressions. And we're going to do a deep dive series on Redbreast during the month of March. So we hope you join us. But for today, for this week, what we're doing is something called Blade and Bow. Now this is by the same this is by Stitzer Weller. So the same people that do W.O. Weller, who are also the ones who do Pappy Van Winkle. So if you ever had a bottle of Pappy, it's basically the same thing. W.O. Weller is the same thing. They just stick a different label on it, and there's a huge vetting process as to which one gets which label. So this distillery does quite a few different expressions, quite a few different whiskeys, but Blade and Bow is what we're looking at today. Now, one of the first things that should make you cautious about a whiskey is a big fancy bottle, a lot of fancy packaging, and this has got a pretty fancy bottle. A bunch of stories about keys all around the bottle.
Keys? What keys?
I'm gonna do this two-handed so I don't drop it. But you got the 1 key, the 2 keys, the 3 key, and all that. So you got all these different keys around. There's a story to each of them, and when you buy the bottle, there's a key hanging off of it, and there's all kinds of fancy packaging. That always makes me nervous. I'm thinking, well, they probably spent more on packaging than they did putting together a good product. But because it is Weller, that is a sign it could be good. So fancy bottles don't necessarily mean garbage whiskey, but and it doesn't this time. It just usually that is usually a thing of caution. But because it's Weller, we're going to give it a chance. So here we go. Now just right on the nose. I'm not really getting anything real prominent. No real prominent notes are sticking out on this. Yeah, nothing's coming up. It's just kind of it smells like a good bourbon, but there's no specific notes that come out on the nose. Let's I don't know. Dark Helmet, do your thing.
Ludicrous speed!
Interesting. I read a few reviews, watched a few reviews of this bourbon before I did mine, and a lot of those people were way more positive about this than I'm going to be. I think it's a good bourbon. It's a solid bourbon, but there's nothing that no notes that tasting notes or on the nose. There's no notes that are real prominent. Nothing really sticks out about it. There's nothing exceptional about it in any way. It's a good solid bourbon. It's got a 91 proof, I think. Yeah, 91 proof. So it's got a little bit of a bite. For 91 proof, it's got a great mouthfeel. It's got a decent taste. It's not like I said, not exceptional in any way. I definitely would not. I don't see myself buying it again.
Jesus, everything ends badly. Otherwise, it wouldn't end.
With it being about about $60 a bottle. There are better bourbons out there for half that price. So it's a good solid bourbon. I wouldn't turn it away at all. Decent taste. For 91 proof, it's got a very easygoing mouthfeel. The finish is very quick. It doesn't linger much, especially for 91 proof. So I'm going to say do not recommend on this one. It's there's much better bourbons out there for the money than Blade and Bow. Kind of a little disappointing for a Stetzer Weller bourbon. But that's my thoughts. Coming up next week, I'm gonna be doing another solo episode with Trader Joe's Irish Whiskey, and so come back next week for another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey.
Cheers.